Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show, Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. Talking about life, talking about business, talking about money is a moment when you see the way I wear myself is about the new year. The year next is the horse, is believed to be the horse. The horse year believed to be the most prosperous year. I don't know, but well, every time when it's the turn of the horse year, something turns good. Well, that we can testify. I can testify, but I don't know for sure this year. But anyway, to look ahead, to look into the future, look into the next year with fingers crossed is always way to do, right? So now, talking about business, talking about making money, talking about getting rich, you will better be talking about how we shall promote business between China and the United States. The bigger countries, the two leaders, if they can join handedly do something to promote each other, their business, economically, things will get better, of course. If they end up fighting, well, we're talking about sad stories, right? Okay, now, of course not. Today, joining me, I have to make a special presentation, probably, is a beautiful woman and business entrepreneur and also leader of business. And I would say she is the General Manager of the China-U.S. Business Summit Organization, Miss Jing Zhang.
Thank you, Jack.
All right. Jen, thank you very much for coming and welcome to the show.
Very glad to be here today.
All right. Next to her is my old friend. When I say old friend, I'm not saying referring the age. I'm referring the years that we know each other. Mr. Peter Choi, President of Chamber of Commerce of Temple City.
Yes, thank you, Jack. I must say right away that I'm a little upset because you have never, in my appearances here, described me as beautiful. So
you're not beautiful. You're handsome.
Oh, thank you.
You're handsome.
Also, let me just say very quickly, it is the year of the horse.
Yes.
And that's an important kind of umbrella to talk under because many of the attributes that we attribute to the horse, we attribute to running business. Horses, you know, have big wide eyes. They have 350 degrees of vision. Very important for business to look at everything.
Yeah.
You know, horses are strong. You want your business to be strong. And also, when you work with horses, because I grew up riding horses, you need to work with them. If you pull too hard, they don't ride properly. You have to work together. And for business, you must cooperate and work together. And as you were saying, for China-U.S. trade and business, they must work together. Then you go faster and stronger. You can't fight. You have to cooperate.
That's exactly where the concept of putting a summit, right? China-U.S. Business Summit. What a beautiful name. And also, I told you already at the very beginning when I got the first glance on this logo, I really like the logo so much.
Yeah.
So how about we start the whole show with your introduction about yourself, your organization, and the summit.
Okay. So first of all, Happy Chinese New Year.
All right.
to
Same to
everyone,
everybody.
yeah.
Okay.
And China-U.S. Business Summit is a non-profit and also a non-governmental organization registered in California.
I see.
We have 4 offices. We have 4 offices in the United States and 1 office in Beijing, China.
Oh, I see.
Our aim is to bridge and matchmake the small and medium-sized companies in between China and America.
Is it a Chinese registered or U.S. registered organization?
U.S. registered.
I see.
Yes.
That's the better part. That's the better part. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
good.
our headquarters in Long Beach.
All
World Trade
right.
Center.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So we provide the matchmaking services all through the year. We arrange business tours with specific matchmaking meeting purposes for business between the 2 nations. And on top of that, we have our annual event, which is also called the China-U.S. Business Summit. It's gonna be held in downtown Los Angeles for 3 days every year in the spring. We'll welcome more and more American business to join us. And actually, in the past 4 years, we have more than 100 100 American businesses coming from all the states to gather in Los Angeles to meet more than 100 Chinese investors flew all the way from China. So they exchange business ideas, business opportunities, and do on-field visiting together.
In other words, you're not only doing the day-to-day operation by making deals, like your term, quote unquote, matchmaking, but also you do annual event.
Correct.
As big as a summit meeting on a yearly basis.
Yeah,
right?
The annual event is our biggest event every year. But beside that, we have a smaller size group coming from China all through the year.
In between, right?
In between.
In between,
yeah.
I see.
But for those smaller group, they come here for specific purposes. Like for example, we're gonna have a group of investors coming in the early February. They're looking for the projects to invest, assisted living facilities to make investing.
I see.
Yeah.
And your personal background, such as your saving account number or something like that? Oh, you won't have to touch that. Yeah, you can skip that.
Okay. Okay, for my personal, I can share a little bit. I'm with this organization for more than 3 years. So I work for the organization starting from the second year annual event. And I enjoy doing this because it matched my personal lifetime path very well. I really, after I graduated, I came here as an international student. I got my master's degree in finance.
You were born
in Beijing, China.
In Beijing, China?
Yes.
You sound like you were born here.
I'll take it as a compliment.
That's a surprise to me.
Yeah, I came here as an international student.
I see.
And I finished my master's degree in finance and engineering in Chicago.
Hey, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong. I've noticed a trend.
Okay.
The trend is so obvious. Nowadays, when you talk about business leaders, they are, number one, relatively highly educated. They are better looking, and they are young.
Well,
so, what causes that?
Look, for me,
back in our time, though, people like me can be a business leader.
Well, I will say
they're not picky.
Well, look, these days you need many more skills than just business skills to be an effective leader. We live in an information age. We live in an age of communication. It is not a bad thing to look good on camera and to speak well on camera, because that is one of the most effective ways to get your message out.
Oh yeah, of course.
When you look at our presidential candidates,
speaking skills too. I forgot to mention one thing, which is the fourth.
That's right.
And they're better speakers.
But when you look at our presidential candidates, very often they are good on TV, ever since John F. Kennedy. You know, Abraham Lincoln, they say if he ran today, he would have a hard time getting elected because he didn't look good on camera, even though he was one of the great presidents.
Because he doesn't shave.
And certainly for when you're representing, you know, not just one country, but in many ways two countries like Jing is. When you're talking about China-U.S. trade, when you're talking about an organization that does an annual event that is so large and successful and heading to its fourth year, but also throughout the year is introducing what she calls matchmaking. I would say is also diplomacy. It is hosting. There's a cultural difference that I think your organization also helps understand how they do business in China versus how they do business here. That's a very important, I think, element of what you guys do.
Exactly. Yes? That's a very good point you're making. One thing for sure, probably, time has changed, right? Nowadays, when you're talking about business, you're really talking about interrelations, the cross communications among people. And that should include everything, right? How you look, how you make people feel, how you express yourself, right? And how you compliment people, how you making deals, of course, that's necessary, and in what kind of manner, right? So those are kind of the things I believe she has the most right to say, because she's in the business for 3 years. Compared to her age, though, 3 years is a big part.
And look at it this
Don't you think so?
For many of these Chinese entrepreneurs who are coming into the April China, U.S. summit, or people who are coming out throughout the year, including February, very often Jin and her organization might be their first introduction to the American business world.
Exactly.
And my thing is, in business, they say you have one chance to make a first impression.
Correct.
And if that first impression is good,
you're absolutely right.
Then they're willing to go with you.
You're
that is
absolutely
why
right, yeah.
when we go to a business meeting, we don't wear a t-shirt and jeans. You know, we want to represent. This is not unimportant.
Exactly.
And then after the visual, we get into the actual information. And that, I will say, having spoken with Jin already, is underneath the nice exterior is a very intelligent,
unless you're Steve Jobs. He's already in always t-shirt.
That's right. Well, when you're him, you get to do that.
Yeah.
That's his icon.
Yeah, that's his icon, right? Good, very good. So, back to business. I mean, matchmaking part. Matchmaking is really a good term. I really like the term. How do you actually do the matchmaking?
Okay, that's a really good question. So first of all, matchmaking, everybody said that. If you ask quite a few business people in the valley, they'll say, okay, I specialize in matchmaking, but I'm still young in this industry, in this business, but I've been working for these organizations for more than 3 years. And every year I arrange meetings. I help those businesses from China, almost like 2,000 people every year, 2,000 people. So I saw a lot. I know matchmaking is not easy.
Where do you get the inquiry? For example, I make rubber gloves. Those rubber gloves that police, every time when they want to beat people, they put gloves on, say, I'm going to F you like that, that kind of gloves. Suppose if I make that kind of glove, though. So do I go ask you, say, hey, I produce these gloves. Can you help me find a partner in China? Like that?
Yeah, you can contact, if you're in China, you can contact our Beijing office. If you're here, you can contact us. But our first priority is to serve our members. So in China, we are kind of like international chamber. So in China, we have 4,000 members. They are all entrepreneurs or top executives in big companies. Once they have business demand or their individual demand with our side, and then they contact us, and we will spread those demand among our members in the United States. Also, we do the opposite way if we have good projects over here.
Yes, so bilateral.
Yeah, so bilateral. So first of all, we will try to match-make those projects among our existing members. It's already far more effective than just to look for the targets from the outside.
So you have a pool of people you know in China, and in Beijing, etc.
And they're in a diversified
industries. You have your contacts here in Los Angeles County and Southern California. Do you work outside California? Or do you
of course. We have, just I mentioned at the very beginning, we have four offices here. Yeah, we have offices in New York, Las Vegas, and in San Francisco.
So is your chamber, the Temple City, a member of the organization?
We are not, but
we work closely. Yeah, we work closely, like the Temple City Chamber, and we also work closely with LH.
Like partners.
Yeah, county chambers, Long Beach Chamber. And also we work closely with government agencies like Small Business Association, International Trade Administration, and the Department of Commerce and BDA and other agencies.
Quite a bit. Back to my audience. Today is one of the moments we got a chance to talk about our business. When we say business, we're talking about the biggest businesses that are putting the strongest countries together in a joint effort to promote our own economies mutually, right? So in the discussion, it's my good guest, Ms. Jing Zhang, and also my old friend, Peter Choi of Temple City Chamber of Commerce. Jing Zhang is the general manager of the U.S.-China Business Summit Organization. We hear a good starting about the organization, about what basically they do. Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, shall we talk about some examples successfully putting people together?
Sure.
Who marries who, stuff like that?
Or who date who.
All right, good. Happily married ever after, all right? Stay with us. Right back.